I try to stay with the 1.2 to 1.3 meter sized RC planes, but this is the XFLY P-68 at 850 millimeters, so it is much smaller than my usual RC planes. It's a twin engine plane, super simple to assemble. You have 2 screws for the top wing, 1 screw for the tail section, and you just have to snap in these landing gears. And it runs on I think that you can do like 850 milliamp 3S or up to 1300. I think that the 850 is the way to go. So let's go outside and just do another flight on this P-68. Just like that, we're up in the air. This is a really easy plane to just take off. And when I'm rougher grass like this, I don't want to run too long on the ground, so I can just push it. But if you have a smoother surface with the P-68, I think you can do really nice long takeoffs, also landings. Then I'm flying with an 850 milliamp 3S battery, which I think is the perfect size and just power for this plane. You cannot really expect this plane to fly as kind of agile and also at the same time as a larger 1.2, 1.3 plane. But in a way, I think that this plane reminds me very much of the kind of the FMS 800mm warbirds, like the T-28 for instance. I think the paint, red paint then on the wing tips then just makes for really good orientation, even though this is a comparable small plane. I think it's also agile at the same time as it is gentle. When you have a little bit of wind like it is today, just a little bit of turbulence, I think just to improve stability, I usually just push the throttle a little bit more. I'm not going like 100%, but maybe I'm staying about 80% or something, 70 to 80% when I'm just going straight. And it just really helps to cut through the wind. So if you have a large RC plane, you can let it kind of bob around a little bit, but it's just easy to get smaller RC planes squirrelier in wind then. But this is a fun plane that in a way reminds me of kind of the Aeros RC Viper or similar, just small EDF planes, and also then, as I said, the FMS warbirds. So it's really easygoing, fun experience, and as you saw, you can even take off with these tiny wheels thanks to the props then being so on the high end of the wing. So this is a very enjoyable plane to fly. Of course, not as enjoyable as the larger planes then, but it's an uncomplicated one. Very few scale details. On the other hand, it is extremely fast just to put together. You have like 3 screws, pop in the rear landing gear, and you're good to go. Also really comparable small box then for this plane. I think it also hums nice from the twin engines. It's not a noisy RC plane. It sounds, well, not much really. So today then an all blue sky, which, yeah, I know it's not really the perfect sky for filming an RC plane, but sometimes when just have been too much wind and rain and you have to go out and just do some flying, have the urge to do it. I mean, you can even take blue sky day like this, and surely, I mean, it's nice to be outdoors, but just to have a sense of contrast and feeling for all these planes, it's better to have kind of a cloudy background, because against blue you don't really have any reference marks, and kind of the camera also just focus on all the blue, so the plane is kind of the secondary objective for the camera. Orientation wise, really easy to see where you're going. If I go a little bit slower, lower throttle, like 50%, I mean, it does get a little bit squirrely in the wind then, but as long as the gusts just keep quite calm, it's okay. So I have a 30 seconds on timer. So this is the landing approach, just doing a kind of a test run to see how this plane drops, and hopefully I will do a nice landing. The grass isn't really too thick right now, so let's go down then, let's drop throttle and flare at the end. Yeah, almost no throttle, great landing, and even then on ground, as you can see, it bobs around, but you can't taxi even this ground, which is not really a golf course ground, so great performance. You can certainly tell that this is a smaller RSL plane, because when the wind just starts to kick in and there's turbulence, it becomes a little bit squirrely, this RSL plane. So with no wind and just keeping power, I think you push through things really well. And even if there's wind, when you just have power, it's nice. But when you just start to drop power and do slower things, it does start to get squirrely. So that's kind of a negative with all smaller RSL planes. But still, it's a fun one. Is it the best 850 I've flown? No, because that is the FMS Corsair 850, which is just a fantastic plane, in my opinion. You can just hand launch it, really agile, really beautiful, and just easygoing. And still, I think that this plane, I mean, it just ticks lots of boxes. I think it's easy to orientate because you have these red wingtips. This assembly is super nice. The box is really small. I have this top hatch then, and I just have a Velcro piece to hold the battery. And I haven't done any modification on this RC plane whatsoever. And also, these landing gears, they snaps into place. But I mean, I haven't had these landing gears falling off any time. And you also have kind of I think this is a strong nose gear, and you have the props also quite high. So even if you have a little bit longer grass, and you think that, well, this must be surely impossible just to get this one flying, it starts to roll, and after a few meters just jumps into the air. So certainly not the best one, but in this size, a really enjoyable RSL plane. I will certainly just come back to this plane and show more flights from the P-68.